Hi, in this lesson, we're going to take a look at applying transitions to our slides in PowerPoint. Transition is exactly what it sounds like. It's the transition between slides. Let's go ahead and run our presentation. I'm going to come down here to the lower right corner. You see I have the slideshow button. I'm going to click there, and we see my first slide. And every time I click my mouse, we move to the next slide. The next slide just pops up. Transitions create a little bit of movement between the slides. You can have all kinds of different transitions, and we'll take a look at some of those in just a second here. Let me get back to my first slide, and we're going to go to the Transitions tab. We're going to click there, and you see that there is no transition. None is what's selected on all of our slides. Now, I don't want to apply a transition to the first slide because I prefer the first slide to start full screen, not fade up. And we'll look at that in a little bit. We're going to start by applying a transition to the second slide. And I'm going to choose fade. And see that? You got a little bit of a preview of it. In fact, if I click the preview button over here on the left, you can see it again. But I don't really like, you get that blink. I don't really like the preview. I like to run it full screen. So I'm going to go back to my first slide and start my slideshow. Now when I click, you see I have that nice fade in between each slide. So let's go ahead and let's apply some other transitions to the individual slides. We'll go to the next one here, and we're going to come here to transitions to this slide, select the drop down, and you can see the different types of slide transitions that we have. We're going to choose push for that one. Let's go to the next one here. In the exciting section, let's try wind. Now, some of these are a little extreme. They get a little annoying. The ever popular clock wipe. And quite honestly, you can apply a different slide transition to each slide, although I don't recommend it. What I would recommend is something more like a nice subtle transition that you use the same in every single slide, but of course, that's entirely up to you. Some of these can be really annoying, as you can see, and some of them aren't so bad. But now we have applied a transition to every slide, except for the first one. And if you look over here in our slide panel, on the left, underneath each number, you see a little star. That indicates that there is an animation. An animation could be an animation that we've applied and used in the slide, or a transition. It just lets you know that there's something going on that slide. And as we select each slide, we see which transition is applied to that slide. So let's go ahead and let's start our presentation again and look at these transitions. We'll click our slideshow button, and there's our fade, push, wind, clock wipe, rotate, checkerboard, shred. That one's really annoying if you ask me. Cube, and fall. So some aren't too bad. Some are, in my opinion, not great. What I want to do is I'm going to apply the fade, a nice, subtle, easy transition to every single slide. And to do that, I could go one by one and apply it, or I can select the fade and come over here to the timing section and click on Apply to All. And when I click that, it applies the fade to all of my slides, as you can see now. But it also applied it here to the first slide, which I don't want. And let me show you why. I'm going to click on my slideshow again and see that it fades in from black. I don't like that. I want to have my slide start like this. And it depends on how you're running your slideshow. Maybe a fade in from black is okay. So I'm going to select my first slide and choose none. And now my fade is on all of my slides except the first one. And if we run it again, we can see the fade transition between every single slide. Nice and subtle. So now you know a little bit more about transitions in PowerPoint. That's it for this lesson. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.